Hey everybody, welcome to the Social Distance Show. My name is Ben. I am your host. Um, and it's, another crazy day here in Westerly. Some uh, some stuff that happened today. We had an announcement about Springfest being canceled. I'm sure Caswell will talk about that more later tonight, and also some stuff, the COVID stuff. It's just you can't escape it. But we're gonna try to escape it because we're gonna try to have some fun. And there is nobody that I would rather have as a guest tonight to have some ridiculous fun than my friend Ryan Faillace. Ryan,
Hello.
how are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Good. So Ryan, you are a very accomplished person. You are an AV producer at Nintendo right now.
Right.
You have also worked as a video editor for Hasbro, freelance for Twitch, uh, NCSoft. Is that correct?
It's off. Yep. That's
Yeah,
real.
like a bunch of ridiculously cool stuff. You are very accomplished in the video game world and the streaming world, and I don't know. What do you want to do? Let's talk about Insane Clown Posse for a while, um,
Let's.
or wrestling or something.
I want to know
Um,
because I feel like we're wrestling. Yeah. Oh, I got
yeah,
my Brody shirt on today.
there you go.
I don't know if you saw the Dark Side of the Ring documentaries that they've been doing the past year.
Yeah, yeah,
They had
yeah.
an episode on him that was pretty good. And I give him a lot of credit for that episode in particular because almost the entire story, no part of that story like exists
Anywhere.
on air. Yeah, there's no footage for it, and they still had to piece it together with just interviews and their little reenactments and stuff. It was cool. It was good.
It definitely was. Um, so how did you? So many people love video games. Let's just actually start at the beginning.
Yeah.
How did you turn? How did you get into the world that you're in?
I don't know. I just uh, I don't know. When I was a kid, I have some footage of my like fifth birthday or something, and I'm playing. I had an Atari 2600 that was like a hand me down from my uncle. It was my cousin's first, and then it was my uncle's, and then it was mine. So I had that. Actually, my first console I ever have, I still have it up there. It's called a VTech Socrates from VTech, the company that makes like the calculators.
Yeah.
It was like all educational games. I learned how to read on it. My dad would tell me stories. I learned how to. I was reading at like 3, and writing pretty early because the controller is just a keyboard with this terrible membrane keyboard. I remember those where you really have to mush your finger into it to type anything.
I had this.
You do? You want to see it?
I had this. Yeah. I love the props.
Well, we got plenty of props. Ooh.
Oh no, we ruined it.
We're good, and it's done. No, this is it.
Yes.
So this has got the controllers for player 1, player 2, and just a button and a D-pad sort of, and then the horrible membrane keyboard, and it's all like educational stuff. And this is what it sits in. And the worst part is there's no wire to it. It has to be with infrared. So you have to, and these were terrible back in the day because they had to be pointed exactly at it to read any inputs, and also had to be like, within 3 feet or so. So these two little things had to be pointing at each other. It was a nightmare. But anyway, so I got like started young, sort of. I had my family got, I don't know. I guess I was blessed in this way to have access to all this stuff. For Christmas 1991, we were given a computer, so I kind of was able to, and I was obsessed with it. So I spent all my free time on this computer. If you want to see it, I still have it.
Yeah, of course.
Tandy 1000 RLX.
And it works.
Still works. Still has all my book reports from first grade and everything on it. Has the first games I ever wrote in QBasic on it. They're all like text adventures and stuff like that have really, like, you can tell they're full of jokes that only a 10-year-old could have come up with. So it's obvious that a child made them, but they're still on there and it still works. So I don't know. It's just always been there. It's always been something I'm interested in. I think a lot of people my age have the exact same experience. it wasn't ever taken seriously, you know, like the generation right before us, our parents saw it as like a toy that we grew out of. But to us, it was like just as fascinating as any piece of media, novel or movie or anything that, you know, could be imagined. And so, you know, now we're all grown up. The average gamer at this point is my age, like 35. And, you know, so I think I just ended up growing up with it, never went away. I started doing art and like programming stuff pretty early, and then it just kind of followed through. When it came time for college, I went to like some art school that doesn't even exist anymore. I don't want to give them too much credit. Uh, but you know, like I never like lost sight of my passion for it. You know, I took it really seriously from an early age, which was hard to do because, you know, you look like a dink, you know, when you're when you're like really, really into something
Yeah.
like that, like something nerdy like that. So especially, you know, none of my family knew what to make of it or what to do with me, even when they're being supportive. You know, they were like, "Oh, Ryan's like, so does your kid play soccer or football?" You know, and you'd have to be like, "Ryan's into these. I don't know. Don't worry about it." So you know what I mean? Like they didn't. I'm sure there's like classes and stuff for kids, like getting into computers and programming or you know, digital art or something, whatever. But I mean, my family didn't know how to find them or point me in that direction. So
I think it's interesting. Obviously, just by the nature of how the business has expanded, there's more programmers now than there were when we were kids.
yeah,
So, but that generation, your generation of kids that were obsessed with video games, or you know, and I say obsessed, I don't mean that in a
no,
negative
no,
way or
sure.
anything, but
We're
like
passionate about video
that were
games.
passionate about video
That's a
games.
diplomatic way of saying it. Yeah.
That's the, you know, becoming a programmer was your, or becoming a video editor or a designer or whatever was
Mhm.
your way of being into it. And obviously, you know, like parents don't really understand what the kid is doing. And I
Right.
think that now this next generation is coming up with esports,
Yeah. Right.
and it's a thing where people, you know, don't know what, you know, you're not creating the game, so you're just playing on the game. Like, and now I would imagine it's the same cycle of parents going, well, okay, but like stop playing that. You
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
um
Trying to convert that into something besides. I mean, how engaged are you when you're playing? Right. How engaged is your kid when they're playing video games? Are they just enjoying the zoning out part, or are they sitting and playing? You know, even if they're playing Call of Duty on Xbox or whatever with, you know, with their friends or something, it's like, are they sitting there and being like, here's what I would do. You know, if I had my say in this game should be this way or that way. Well, wouldn't it be cool if, you know, or whatever games inspire them to start creating art or music or something, whatever, you know, like if it's a source of inspiration. It's hard. I don't know exactly, but like it's a gray area to understand whether it's like, is this something that my kid is like passionate about, or is he just like, you know, he likes to zone out and doesn't want to, you know.
but it's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing with like music or movies or cooking even, you know, like if you're, is it a passion, is it something where you're just trying to zone out? Like if a kid sits in his room and listens to music all day, you know, now as much as ever, but in the like 60s, you might have like said, hey, you know, come on, stop it. But if that kid's sitting in there and analyzing the Beatles record, and then all of a sudden years later, you know, picks up a guitar, or at that moment picks up a guitar,
Yeah.
and then that's how, I mean, that's how artists and anything, like that's how chefs happen, you
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff. So it's really interesting, and I'm really glad that you know, even though they might not have understood it, you were nurtured in a way
Hmm.
to be allowed to enjoy your passions, which is
Yeah.
really great. And now
And I think that's the most
um
important part. I think there's a misconception too, where they're like, well, we validate it because it could lead to a lucrative career, you know, and I don't think that's necessary. You know, it's more about, like you said, um, not losing something that you are that makes you happy or that you're passionate about, or, you know, something that you can feel creative with, even if it's not something you make a job out of. But, you know, I
right.
think that's an important distinction to make, that, you know, I don't want to come out and say like, it's okay for your kid to just, you know, play video games all day because people do that and make money, because
Yep.
that's not the point, right?
Exactly. And there's so much, another great thing about kids that are playing video games right now is the interconnection of online play.
Yep.
Like, you could be playing with somebody from another country or another culture or whatever, and just the ways of technology breaking down barriers right now is really cool. And so there are a lot of advantages to it, other than becoming a game designer that makes
Sure.
millions of dollars or
Yeah,
whatever.
community building. I'm telling you, almost, I'd say 99% of my friends that I talk to regularly, I know from competitive Street Fighter. I spent a lot of time getting way into fighting games and going to tournaments, and the whole fighting game scene, is a lot of it's offline because of the nature of the game. People don't want to have to, the real experience, the play for competitive level is all done in person. But you meet up online, and people travel to tournaments, and even just the local scenes in Seattle is where I met everybody who I'm friends with right now. Hi, Joni. So like, and that's hugely valuable. It's my entire social network right now is people who I met through video games, or that I met through the community, the local community, the indie developer community. I've been working on a game for a few years now, just in my very limited free time. That's why it's taken forever. You can go to MissileCity.com to check it out, but it's
really?
Yeah.
Wait, you can check out the game that you've been working on now?
Yes, I've had a trailer out for a couple of years.
I didn't know that. You and I haven't gotten to see each other in a long time.
Right.
But I've heard about this game for so long, and I didn't know.
Sure. There's a trailer for it, and you can sign up for a newsletter so that when we make updates or the game becomes finished or available in a demo or something, or any kind of important news, we'll email people who are interested about it. So if you go to MissileCity.com, the game is Missile City Aero League. It's based off of a Neo Geo game from 1992-93 called Windjammers, which you might know is an arcade game. It was basically like Pong, but it's two people throwing a frisbee back and forth, trying to get the frisbee into the goals behind the characters. But we took that basic concept and added Street Fighter elements to it. So it's competitive arcade, fast, head-to-head, one-on-one game where it's the same thing. You're trying to throw a frisbee beyond the other character, but now you can throw fireballs and have magic powers and use, you know what I mean? Like we take it up a notch so that there's, more interesting and that extra layer of, wacky elements to it. So
what was the game that drew you in? What was your favorite game as a kid? Your first favorite game?
First favorite game. I mean, it would have to be, I guess it would be, it's not something that would be the most impactful, I don't think, because it's one of my, I guess probably one of the 2600 games. Even then, like I knew that I liked games at that point, but I think the first time I was really going nuts with video games was the NES era, where that came around, and I had my Nintendo, which I got late. It wasn't until the 90s that I got it, so it had already been out for 5 or 6 years. But we finally came around to it, and I don't know that I could pick one, honestly. I could list like five or 10. Like actually, at one point there was a hashtag going around that was #Fave5, #Fave7 games. In like 2016, this hashtag was floating around, and I was like, that's ridiculous. Like that's for people who aren't that into games. So I made a Fave70 and posted my favorite 70 game. And even that took a lot of culling and like deliberation, and like it was too much. So, but I guess the early Nintendo stuff that everyone's into, the Mario, Zelda, early stuff like that, Ninja Gaiden on NES. Actually, here's a good one, Mule. This was a computer game that was also had an NES port, MULE as an acronym. And it was one of the first like multiplayer games ever conceived that wasn't just like taking turns in Asteroids or Pac-Man or something, where it was like a competitive, really early, so early 80s maybe. And it was up to 4 players kind of cooperate and compete to colonize an alien planet, and everyone is a different kind of alien trying to colonize the same like grid. So it's like a board game, and there's like, it was all this based on the local economy and stuff. And at the end of every month, you'd buy and sell. You'd grow crops and try to sell them at the market, and the other players could buy them if they were short on food or whatever. And it was really interesting. So it played out more like a board game, but that was a big one too. I really liked early point and click adventure games, the Sierra games, King's Quest, Police Quest, Leisure Suit Larry 3 I had, and actually I got in trouble because it was like a game for kids.
Leisure Suit Larry is a game that I was introduced to for the first time ever last week.
Really? Which one?
It was I was told, it was mentioned in conversation on a Zoom call, and I was like, I don't know what that is. And I got, shunned for that. Hello.
Shunned for it. So there's interesting history. So Leisure Suit Larry is, for anybody who doesn't know, is an old computer game from the 80s. There's a series that went way beyond that. I mean, they made one like 5 years ago. They made one too, but an adventure game, and it's full of it's made by this guy named Al Lowe, who's just like a cheeky uncle. Like he's really big into like kind of pervy jokes, like nothing.
I could tell,
raunchy, but you know what I mean, like dirty jokes, like the kind that that are almost safe for work, but still not right. Leisure Suit Larry, the series, started off as a game that was all text called Soft Porn Adventure. Okay. And it sounds worse than it is because it's all worse. And it's just like cheeky jokes and stuff. And then it was remade with graphics because, again, by text adventure, I mean it was just words on the screen. And you type in what you're going to try to do. And they said, let's remake this into a real game. And they made it into Leisure Suit Larry 1. Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards is the full title.
Yes, that is the one. That is the one that I saw.
Sure, and that was remade again in the early 90s, and then remade again in like 2015. It was the first big Kickstarter video game project that really blew up. Al Lowe, the original creator, went on Kickstarter because he's like, I haven't had the rights to this character for over 15 years, and I finally do now. So let's remake my game again. So that's Leisure Suit Larry. But anyway, I loved all those games growing up too, and there was a couple in the middle there in like the Xbox PS2 era, like early 2000s, where it was Vivendi Universal had the rights to the Leisure Suit Larry name and the character and all that stuff. And they decided to make their own games without, the original creators or anything. And they were completely different. And they were like, just like kind of where I say like the old ones were like kind of cheeky, fun humor. Like these were just basically like softcore porn. Like it was too much. It was just greasy and strange and uncomfortable, and they were awful. So don't play those.
So you obviously you were a video editor as well. Mm-hmm. And you did some work for Twitch and stuff. How did you get into streaming when you were a part of it? Because you worked some award shows and stuff, didn't you? Or conferences and stuff?
Yeah, like PAX and like big convention halls and panels and concerts and stuff that they would do there. Tournaments, stuff like that.
So what changed? How did the gaming industry change in your eyes with the evolution of streaming and just people watching people play? In general, like it's this really interesting to me phenomenon because I didn't know about it. I'm not the biggest video game guy. I've had consoles my entire life. I play video games constantly. They're mostly like sports games or the occasional really big name game that just has been put in front of me, and I've loved them. But I didn't know until there was a whole like South Park arc about people streaming their games and talking over their games and narrating that, and I didn't know about that. And now I live with a 5-year-old who has favorite YouTubers that are playing Mario every day.
Yeah, it was interesting to see it kind of grow and evolve. It existed before Twitch, and around YouTube, you'd start to see that blowing up. I mean, now it's the most popular thing in streaming video. It's massive. It's number one by far, sure. And it's wild. But it's one of those things, like we said earlier, where we're like, "Mom, Dad, these video games are a big deal," and they go, "Yeah, okay, sweetie." Not until it's on cable TV will it matter, and now TV is, who even has cable anymore? I haven't had cable TV since 2003. But it's one of those things where I was like, oh, I get this. Even if it's not for me, I get it. And when people are like, who would ever want to watch someone else playing video games? I was like, that's bad take. I'm telling you, just write this down. So it was really cool to see it blow up over the past decade or so. Twitch specifically, the service that is the #1 gaming streaming service in general, actually, because there's a lot of stuff on there that has nothing to do with games.
Right.
You can stream yourself cooking or working out or just sitting on your phone or whatever. But before that, it was just in TV, and there was a few events that I was huge on. Evo, which is basically the World Series or the Super Bowl of fighting games, happened in Vegas every year for like 10 or so years. Before that, I was in California, and I remember like during the event, I couldn't go. So in order to get like results and understand what was happening at this event, that was a big deal to me. It was like if you were really into football or whatever, but you couldn't watch the Super Bowl. It wasn't televised. You had to rely on go to message boards and figure out like, hey, updates. Who's winning? What's the status of whatever games tournaments right now? And in 2009 was the first time that they ever streamed it on Ustream. This was before Twitch, and it was awesome. It was amazing. Prior to that, I remember seeing like the Tom Green show. Tom Green was doing a live stream. He might still be doing it. I don't know. Live stream TV show in 2005-ish from his living room.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Even before that, I remember seeing on Nickelodeon, when Nickelodeon was first had a website on AOL in the 90s. They promoted some show about this girl who was like road tripping all over the country with her family, and she had a laptop. I don't remember what it was called. Maybe someone can look it up for me. But this struck my brain. It like that this is possible and this is fascinating. This girl on this computer has like this, and it was funny. She had like a modem plugged into her laptop that was as big as this and had a big fat antenna sticking out of it, and it was like, oh, she's gonna send pictures and update us on her journey. And the idea that you could like tune in to like go online and follow her as she traveled the country, it was all the same thing. There was like, this is a kind of a fascinating concept. And then personally, I don't know, we haven't brought up Night Marathon either. It's kind of my big streaming thing, how I got into streaming personally. So every October in 2012 was the first time we did this. It's a charity streaming game marathon thing I do in October to raise money for cancer charities. And it's all Halloween and horror themed video games, and we do it nonstop broadcast, playing these games for like 3 days. One year we did it 4 days without stopping, 90 something hours to raise money. And I was inspired to do that by a thing called Mario Marathon, which again was like it was like 2009-ish, where it was these guys in a basement streaming themselves playing every Mario game. And if you donated money to charity, they would add more time to how long they would just be on and not go to sleep and, just play the games for as long as they could. And people got it to where they're donating millions of dollars and they'd have to stay there. And it took a week. It was a week-long broadcast nonstop of just these guys playing Mario. Not even like, they weren't even good at it, just hanging out. And I was like, man, that's cool. And now we have Games Done Quick, which is just kind of the next level of that, where you've got professional speedrunners doing that thing for a week long plus, and they raise millions of dollars for Doctors Without Frontiers and Prevent Cancer Foundation twice a year. They're a huge organization now. I forgot what your question was. I'm just trying to think of streaming things over the years. But as far as like, kids watching Markiplier on YouTube, like, it's just the way it is. My kids like to do it too. They're interested in video games, and sometimes actually sitting down and learning them and playing them, it can be daunting for a young kid. There's a lot of facets to these games, but to sit and to watch someone else play it, you can get excited about it the same way, without having.
And I got it immediately because when we were playing like GTA in middle school, or early high school, like the most fun part about playing it.
Yeah.
In a group of friends was watching your friend play. Right.
Sure.
I had a friend. I never played any of the Final Fantasy games. Somebody bought me Final Fantasy once when I was a kid for Christmas. One of my parents or something, and me and my cousin put it in. And we've only ever played like Madden and NBA NBA Live and stuff, and
Sure.
we put in Final Fantasy, and we couldn't get the characters to move for 3 hours. We didn't know what was happening. We thought that it was just a plug-in and like the characters move, and that might be the case. I still don't know,
Okay.
because we gave up and I never played it again. And then one school vacation, I watched my friend play the entirety of Final Fantasy X, and I loved it like I was watching a movie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I totally get it.
There's a lot of stress involved in some of these too. A lot of big games now are competitive multiplayer games where you are, up against in some games like literally 150 other players in one game, and only one person can win, and it's really tense and it's exciting, but there's a lot of anxiety that comes with that. And so I think people get turned off by that feeling, and there's a lot of negative feelings. There's stuff like fighting games where it's two people and one of them is going to walk away feeling frustrated because they lost. And
yeah.
You like the game, but maybe it's, you just want to watch it because there's an anxiety that goes with, competing. And that's sometimes you're like, man, I don't want to have to feel all these intense feelings just relaxing after work. So, there's watching other people do it. It's the same reason people watch sports or whatever. Once you understand the rules of the game, then you can become invested in the game and how it's played out by professionals or people who are playing at a high competitive level. It doesn't matter what it is. It's been going on for years in chess. I don't care what it is, so it only makes sense that certain very popular video games that are competitive games will be fun to watch to a lot of people. League of Legends is a video game, and their biggest tournament a couple years ago had more viewers than the NBA Finals or the World Series.
Yep.
Video games are more popular now on this planet than baseball or basketball. Like
they also make more money as an industry.
Sure. I mean, that's a big conversation.
It's a debatable conversation, but like if you look at numbers, it's very interesting to see, and it's so underrated by the general, like the people that know, and the people that don't see it on the cable news, don't assume that it's as big of a deal as it is.
A lot of cable TV has a lot to gain by making sure that cable TV stays the biggest form of media that there is, right?
Right.
So, or film, movies, But I mean, now we're looking at another big hit with the coronavirus thing where people can't go to theaters, and now everyone's like struggling to try and release straight to streaming. Maybe taking hits, maybe taking massive losses. Movie theaters are struggling. TV struggling, all this stuff is struggling, but the video games that you play at home anyway, they're doing fine. They're doing better, honestly, just from everything happening. It's just, everything's moving that way anyway with Netflix and, so.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you guys doing with everything right now? How are you in general?
Oh, great. This is not that different from my normal life. I go to work and I come home and now I just don't go to work. So, I'm working from home and it's been fine. And, but we're doing okay, especially considering this is such a hotbed. This area has got, it was the first place to blow up in the country. It was right down the road from where I work, actually. But as far as people are getting groceries and stuff. We had our town that we live in actually had a mandate where they're asking everyone to go out only on days depending on your last name, like the first letter of your last name. Like if your last name starts from like with an A and from A to M or whatever, then you should only go out on even numbered days. Everyone else only goes out on odd numbered days. Like there's all these things in place right now, and we have the state order too to stay inside, and that's been extended as of yesterday to May 8th, I think. So we're sticking around for a month.
So there's one other thing that especially after yesterday, I would be ridiculed for not asking you. You exist in two different forms here on Earth. One is your current self as Ryan, and the other is an animated form in your very talented, wonderful wife's hit comic series and books.
Yes.
You are Ryan, aka the Man. And here is a nice comic strip of when you were groomed
Yes.
when you lost your long hair a couple years ago.
Yep, that's real. That happens.
How is that for you? Like,
It's fun for me. It's easy for me.
I know, like you don't have to do anything. You just
have to do all the work. I just get to be the man. It's fun for me.
Is it weird to you when people know like stuff about you or who you are from the comics, or do you kind of love it?
Yeah, I mean, I follow the comic myself well enough that I'm never that surprised when people, know things. So it's not that strange. I haven't had any like encounters, with anyone. Again, I like I said, I don't really go outside anyway. So, but no, it's fun. I like it, and it's it's fun to see all the people, the fans and stuff, where they see us in real life. They see Goldie in real life and react. It's always fun. But no, I don't have that many. Yeah, like it's just.
It's not like you have gripes of what she.
Yeah, I don't have any big stories or anything. It's fun. It's fun if people have questions or whatever too. That's always like kind of fun. I've sat in on Q&As or whatever. Every now and then you get someone asking about what I think about something. Or yesterday she said something. So people are asking if I'm like the character in the comic, but which is a really interesting question because I feel like the people in the comic are written through the perspective of the cats. So
right.
I mean, I'm just kind of a doofus a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the people are kind of oblivious, which is kind of the crux of the jokes around them. So that's, it's kind of funny. Like, yeah, I do all those things that happen in the comic for sure, but
but
the cats think that little of me in real life. There's no way to know.
Do you think that the cats think that little of you?
No, I'm a pretty big, they're pretty big fans of me, especially Goldie. This is where she is all the time, by the way. And her and Lupin have kind of, now it's like a turf war ever since Goldie moved in. So
I like it.
Yeah. And Elvis warmed up to me after it took a few years, but I can pet him and carry him and stuff. I don't know if people know that which is not recommended. Like, it's a serious thing we have to tell people when they come over, like, don't go near him.
Yeah.
Do not try to pet him. Definitely don't try to pick him up. Stuff like that. So no, they like me okay. And Puck is elusive. He kind of keeps to himself, but when I'm around and he's happy to see me, at least. He doesn't really perk up until after the kids go to bed. I think he thinks it's not his house until after hours, and, and then he'll get up and wander around and have fun and play and stuff. So, but during the day, he's just in his chair. He has the secret corner behind the arcade machine here. That's his secret corner when it's warmer months. And then when it's colder, he has a chair that's my chair up in the kitchen that's right next to the heater in the wall. So it's always heated up nice and fresh for him. And Alexa, our little Echo Dot thing, is always right there, and he's in love with Alexa. I don't know if we've gotten into that before ever.
If not, I'm sure. I mean, Georgia, who was on yesterday, if you didn't see, go back and watch that, because Ryan's wife, Georgia Dunn, state pen name? Georgia Dunn is just, she's fantastic, and she dove into a lot about having a story idea for 2 years and all of that stuff. And people were really excited that you were coming on the night after her.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which was a lot of fun. So to surmise, to end this, I know nothing about. I don't know if you saw it. I put up a banner earlier, a ticker down at the bottom. Ben is out of his depth and doesn't know anything Ryan is talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure. Like,
I don't. The technical, like, you are so. This has happened our entire friendship. I ask you a question, and then I understand 1/10 of the things that you respond to me with.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm missing the audience sometimes with some of these answers. Or
no, not at all. Not at all. They love it. I don't. I'm a dum-dum when it comes to this. So it's I always enjoy you humoring me. I remember like 5 or 6 years ago when you fixed my laptop. We had a nice long conversation, and it was very similar to this. which is always enjoyable because you're just an amazing guy. And you left, and I was like, that was so much fun. I didn't understand. It's like talking to a scientist sometimes. You are so knowledgeable, and you didn't even really get into the stuff that you could get into with your vast knowledge of all of this stuff. But it's always fun for me to talk to somebody who is so knowledgeable and so passionate about what they do.
Sure. Yeah.
And you're just such a talented man. You're a talented guy, and
Thank you.
yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna top the Faillace family on this show. I think this should just be the last episode.
Yeah. Is this it?
Yeah.
We got a lot more social distancing to do, I think.
I know. You know what's messed up is that I said that this would be a daily show, and I didn't anticipate that it would already be a month.
Right. Have you been sticking to it though? Has it been every day?
It's been every day. The only day I took off was last Friday because it was Braden's birthday.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That was the only day that I took off.
I mean, this is pretty. You got a lot of local viewers too, right?
We do, yeah.
Yep. I did grow up in Westerly. That's something different that Georgia didn't do that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are on Westerly Live right now, buddy.
Yeah.
So, and I guess final thought is, do the kids prefer art or video games?
Oh man, are you implying that video games aren't art?
No. Playing. Do they enjoy playing video games? I mean, I don't think that. You know what? I'm not even going to go there. I was going to say that I don't think that playing video games are necessarily art for a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, but I'm definitely wrong on that. So,
yeah, they love video games, but again, they're pretty young, so we try to limit it, use it as a treat or a reward or something. Like Gwen can play today because it's her birthday, but
is today her birthday?
It is. Today is Gwen's birthday. Yes, happy birthday, Gwen. She's 5.
Oh my god! Why have I taken you for this long?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We've been doing. I mean, they've been watching movies and stuff upstairs. So,
all right.
Yeah. So, man, probably video games, but then even then, it's almost like it's too much. Like Luke will just like be crazy about like some Minecraft video he saw, and won't talk about anything else for days, and we have to be like, you got to cool it about talking about this. It's like you got to sit down. Let's work on something. Let's do something else to get your mind off of it. So, I mean, I get at this point probably video games because it's just they're too young to not want to love video games all the time, right? So
absolutely. And we have a bunch of people wishing Gwen a happy birthday.
Yes, thank you.
I will never forget when your daughter's birthday is again.
Catherine. What's that? Yeah, right. Yeah.
I said, I'll never forget when your daughter's birthday is again. That's awesome.
Yep.
So, all right. Yeah, I'll let you get back to that. And thank you so much, Ryan.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll kick you up. I'm sure that you. Okay, hey, what did you being a professional streamer?
Yeah.
Did you like this technology or whatever?
Oh, am I still on? I'm still on live, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're still on live.
One thing I'd change is ask if I have anything to plug first before I go.
Oh my God, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, lots of stuff. Hang on. So,
you know why I didn't do it? Because we were gonna try to not.
No, this is all personal projects. This is.
I love it. Here.
Yeah. This is
full screen. Full screen.
So, full screen. Nice. Thank you. So, in October, we have Video Game Night Marathon, which is my charity event, which is a live broadcast that goes for 3, maybe 4 days this year in October to raise money for the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation. You can check that out at nightmarathon.net. Nightmarathon.net, just like that. Like it's sort of a portmanteau. So we've done that. It'll be Night Marathon 5 this year. This will be our 5th one. So last year we raised a little over $9,000 over the weekend for Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation. This year we're hoping to break 10,000 raised for that. If you want to check out the indie game I've been working on, that you can check out at missilcity.com. Not much more to say about that. It's just if that's the kind of thing you're into. If you're into fighting games, I do have a live event, the tournament that I've been working on, that was supposed to be in May, but it's now been postponed, called Fight Kingdom in Seattle, specializing in retro fighting games. So Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Vampire Savior, stuff like that. So old Street Fighter games, old fighting games, Fight Kingdom, and you can check that out at smash.gg/FK. Smash.gg/FK. That one's the tough one to to remember. Night Marathon, Missile City, smash.gg/FK. I'm sorry that one's hard to. There you go. Thank you so much. So that's the fighting game tournament, and that's probably it. That's probably
Dude,
it for me.
I didn't know that you had a charity like a night. The night marathon thing's so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything you just said is so cool, but
yeah,
man.
I wish we got more into Fight Kingdom because this is my first time doing that. That's my new project, and it's a live event that we're doing at a place called GameWorks, which is like a Dave and Buster's. But
this is what happens when you catch up with somebody.
Right? Yeah, I know we haven't really talked in years, so
yeah.
That's fair.
Okay, will you come back on when it's not your daughter's birthday? And
yeah, sure, for sure.
Okay, come back on and talk specifically about all of that stuff, Fight Kingdom and the Night Marathon and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please do that. Thank you very much, man. I don't know what to say.
I just saw Jackie's comment there, and it's fantastic.
What did Jackie say?
Just so true.
Did Jackie say Ben is unprepared?
No, she said Ryan's whole life is like if a 12-year-old boy could plan out his whole adult life, and it's awesome.
It's so true. It's so true. You're my hero, Ryan Faillace.
Thank you.
And you always have been. So, all right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, man. Go back to enjoying your daughter's birthday.
All right.
And I'll see you later.
All right. We'll see you.
Wow. That dude is awesome. Really, really amazing. Check out Night Marathon, which I believe he said is in October. And go to this website right now. And also check out Missile City. I'm going to, as soon as I get off of here. That was Ryan Faillace. He's amazing. And that was the Faillace family, Georgia Dunn, Ryan Faillace. They're amazing. That's it. Thanks, Ryan. I agree. In 15 minutes, we're going to be back on Westerly Live with the one and only Russ. Where is the? All right, there we go. Russ Gagir of the association. I'm very excited. The Caswell Cook Show is back. So check that out in about 15 minutes. Have a good night, guys.